Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Shannon Cake. Lauren Labenzina has this day off. We are following 3 helicopter incidents from earlier this morning out of the Pahokee area. All 3 cases occurred overnight and early into this morning in the Pahokee agricultural area. All 3 choppers were being used to keep the crops from freezing overnight. And in at least 2 of the cases, the pilots falling asleep may have been the cause of the crashes. News Channel 5's John Shaman joining us live from Pahokee today with details on this. John?
Well, good afternoon, Shannon. We are out here at the Pahokee Airport. The first incident that happened in the middle of the night, you can actually see right behind me that chopper without its tail rotor. We were told that around 2 o'clock this morning, the pilot had just gotten fuel not far from where the chopper stands right now, and somehow just got the rotor attached to that post, or detached, I should say, from that post. And that, again, fortunately, it never got off the ground, and there was no fuel spill or any sort of explosion like that, and the pilot managed to walk away from that. Now, we have video from the other crashes that happened overnight. At 6 in the morning, a Robinson R-44 crashed by the Osceola sugar mill. It landed, rolled over. We understand that the pilot in that case walked away from the scene and then ended up driving back to Miami. In the third incident, it happened around 7:30 this morning. A Bell Long Ranger helicopter landing, a hard landing about 8 miles northeast of where I am here at the Pahokee Airport. We understand that it nosedived right into the ground. Now, the pilot in that case was flown by another helicopter which saw that incident, flown back to the airport here, where Trauma Hawk then took that pilot to St. Mary's Medical Center, where we understand he is in a stable condition with serious but perhaps non-life-threatening injuries. Again, all 3 of these incidents happening overnight, and you can understand. I spoke with our aviation expert earlier this morning, and he was telling me, well, with the farmers out here already suffering severe losses from last winter's deep freeze back in January and February, well, they certainly didn't want to get off to the same start this year. That's why we understand there were about 24 helicopters in the air at the time. But again, at this point, 2 pilots walking away from the incidents, 1 in the hospital this afternoon. We will have much more on the situation coming up later today on News Channel 5. This noon, we are live at the Pahokee Airport. John Shaman, WPTV, News Channel 5.
Thank you, John. I believe we're going to Captain Julie at this time. Captain Julie, hovering in Chopper 5 at this hour. And, this string of accidents, Julie, brings up the danger that helicopter pilots often face, but certainly during this time when many of them are out in the field overnight trying to get up and hover over the crops out there in the fields. Can you tell us a little bit more about these accidents and what kinds of dangers you guys face when you're up there?
Well, Shannon, having flown these fields before many, many years ago, it's something I try not to do anymore because of just how dangerous it can be. What they do is they go out at night, they look for the inversion layer to surface down, pushes the warm air up. These helicopters go out over the fields during the nighttime hours when, of course, the temperatures get the most critical for the crops, the sugarcane and the cornfields, which is what they were flying over today. They blow that inversion layer down onto the crops and hopefully sustain the temperature a little bit above the freezing level so that the farmers can salvage their crops. Now, they spend a lot of money, the farmers, to bring these aircrafts out there. As you can imagine, it's not cheap to run these helicopters, but the actual loss of the crop is far more in excess of what they spend on trying to salvage their crops. So these pilots go out in pitch black conditions. There's absolutely no lighting out in the Pahokee area by Lake Okeechobee, the Pahokee Airport, Belle Glade as well.
We're having a little difficulty, as you can see, with Captain Julie's transmission, but always really interesting information coming out of Captain Julie from the perspective of the pilots out there. We should mention once again that this is crucial for a lot of farmers in our area to get the help of these pilots. So this isn't something we do willy-nilly to get chopper pilots up in the middle of the night. Although it is very dangerous, it is often crucial for local farmers to preserve their crop. And